What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of PSR. Today we're doing a little review of the Caniks or Caniks Mete MC9 Prime time. Mete. I was wondering, is it meat or is it mete? Pretty sure I overheard someone at the range saying it's a Meat Pro. Like they were like, yeah, I got the new Caniks Meat Pro. Brother, what are we doing? That's cock. We're not gonna call this meat anything. No meat in my gun. But anyway, let's get into the review. But before we get into this thing, I gotta thank the channel sponsor, of course, as always, Aves Engineering. Guys, if you're into your DIY projects like squirted glizzies, you're gonna love Aves because they got the best rails to complete those projects. And not only do they make squirted glizzy rails, but they also make awesome Mac 11 parts, like this upper here on this Free State Gun Co. lower, aluminum Mac Daddy lower, basically. If you're into these kind of projects, never in a million years use PSR for 10% off your entire order from Aves Rails. Aves Engineering, thank you so much for sponsoring this channel. All right, so the Mete MC9 Prime. So this is like the evolution of their double stack slimline pistol. These Caniks are known for having extremely good triggers. I had an SFX way back in the day when I was first starting to get into guns. I ended up selling it. I actually really like the trigger on that gun. Let's just talk about what you get in the package first. This is the gun, the Caniks Mete MC9 Prime. We'll talk about some of the features of it, but it's cool. You do get a little holster here, and it's presented so nice. The Caniks presentation, you get, you know, your owner's manual and all that stuff. It's a G-code holster, can be switched to inside the waistband or outside the waistband. Got a couple back straps, and then you get this additional gun, which is actually a tool kit, which is kind of cool. If you need to adjust anything, you got this right here, which is neat. I really do like a little attention to detail, and it makes it feel a little bit more premium, a little bit nicer. Holster's just okay, honestly. It's pretty tight in there. You know, it's serviceable. Not horrible, not great, in my opinion. Does stick out, so if you're gonna get dust, especially in these ports, which we'll talk about in a sec. You get one extra mag, which at this MSRP is $650. So we're getting into like, definitely like Glock, lots of nicer pistol territory in terms of the MSRP. Now, I'm sure these are probably not going for $650. They're probably a little bit less at retailers. That is kind of pricey for Caniks. Usually it's made in Turkey, but actually this is not made in Turkey. This is made right here in the USA, in West Palm Beach, Florida. That's pretty cool. So you can't really say Turkish garbage, because it's not Turkish garbage. It's actually US made. You know, the foundation of these pistols are based on Walthers. This is like a slimmed down version that they, I think, re-engineered. So it's not like a full-size Walther. This slide won't go on a PDP, for example. It's a slimmer slide. It's kind of fitting into like the 43X or like the P365X macro kind of territory. A pretty big grip here. This holds 17 rounds, and then you got a short slide. Tend to be a little bit more snappy, these kind of guns. Caniks decided they wanted to make it a little less snappy potentially, and so they ported the barrel at the end here. Now you can see here, this is actually not rifled. So the rifling ends right here, and then this about 3/4 of an inch is just basically a compensator at the end of the barrel that's part of the barrel. These 3 ports are machined out, and they coincide with these 3 port cuts in the slide, which is pretty cool. We've got a lightning cut on the top here, and it says Prime. Thank God it doesn't say meat on it. We've got a loaded chamber indicator on the top. I mounted the Olight O-Sight S on here because I wanted to try it. They sent me one. Let's give it a shot. We're gonna see how it does. I do like that it's nice and low. So this is an RMSC footprint. I can co-witness with the sights. Great to have backup iron sights. So I think this is primarily dedicated towards the concealed carry market, sacrificing a little bit of muzzle velocity, a little bit more thin profile with the long grip. So the long grip, not as great for a concealed carry. Does have a mag well that you can remove, which is kind of nice, but you get 17 rounds. So that's a lot of capacity in a slimmer kind of thin gun. A ton of people have done reviews on this already, so I'm not the first at all. Humble Marksman did a great comparison, a great video on this gun. But the thing I take away from this thing the most after just shooting the intro and stuff is the trigger is incredible. I think this trigger, I know everyone says it about Caniks, but the trigger on this is crazy, especially for a concealed carry gun. It is so light for a striker fire, and it's a very crisp, clear break and reset, and it's not much travel at all. This is free take up here, not a lot of resistance. Then you hit the wall, and you get a little creep, and then boom. And the reset, listen to this. Very, very tactile, very, very crisp reset. And you do get a striker kind of indicator here, so you can see it'll disappear when I pull the trigger. Just like a Walther, and just like the other Caniks that are offered.
Guys, before we get into the rest of the video, I gotta thank today's video sponsor, and that is Armslist. If you guys ever wanted to either buy or sell a gun on the used marketplace and maybe your local FFL didn't have what you wanted, well, you can think of Armslist as kind of like a Facebook marketplace or Craigslist for guns, accessories, optics, and stuff like that. With over 95,000 listings, you're surely going to find something you're interested in at Armslist. You can set your preferences to look locally in your area, or you can go through their dealer network, which spans nationwide. If you're interested in signing up with Armslist, I would never in a million years use the code PSR for a first month fee of only 99 cents. 99 cents for the first month. You can check it out, see if you can find anything. If you don't like it, you can always cancel. Having a sponsor for these videos really helps, and I do want to thank Armslist again for sponsoring this video.
How is this thing like to shoot? Well, in just shooting almost 500 rounds through it just now, the place that this thing excels, follow-up shots. It is way easier to do follow-up shots, for me at least, and do fast shots on this pistol than it is on, for example, the SIG X Macro. I did bring my Tech, which is kind of like a raced out, really nice SIG P365. Pretty much the best SIG 365 you can get. The frame is heavier, it's a metal frame. And I did a little bit of comparing the recoil impulse. It's kind of cheating on the P365, the Tech one, because it does have like a thumb rest there. So it's really easy to keep that down. And I did notice in shooting this thing, I have my left glove on because this texture, it's not quite enough for my thumb to stay on it and grip it. So that's one of the downsides of this thing. It does flip up quite a bit, even with the ports. It does have a bit of snap to it, but it always returns back right where you shot it. That's the plus. The negative is it's a little bit snappy even with the ports. It makes up for it in the trigger, I think. Compared to the P365, this trigger knocks the P365 out of the park. Like, there's no comparison. Now, as far as the texture and the way it feels in my hand, it fits really, really well in my hand, stock, without changing the back straps. I have like kind of bigger palms but smaller fingers, so I'm able to get that palm around there and get a really, really good grip. As far as the design and style of it, I do like the way it looks. It looks pretty cool. It kind of follows their newer design language with these slide serrations, and the serrations on the barrel look pretty cool. I know a lot of people talk shit about Turkish guns. I have never had any issues with any Caniks that I've owned. I think it would be cool to do a little test on the steel and try this against all the handguns that I brought, just to see if this thing can compare at all in terms of just felt recoil and my performance on this little course we set up compared to some of the other guns. And I even brought a CZ Shadow 2, which is the most polar opposite of this gun. Let's do it. All right, so we're gonna run the gauntlet with my favorite striker fired pistol, like duty pistol, is the RX Delta L. And we got the CZ Shadow 2, PSA full-size dagger, Glock 34. And then we got the Tech here, which is probably the closest kind of rival to the Mete. This thing is quite a bit heavier. So this thing is a pretty light gun. This, because of the metal frame, quite a bit heavier. See how fast we can shoot these 6 targets, the If6 size steel and then the little guys. Really, it's just to test kind of how each pistol feels in my hand, and then we'll do a little comparison. All right, another cool thing about the MC9 Prime is you can use regular full-size Canik mags. You can't use the Prime mags in the full-size other Caniks, but you can use the full-size mags in this one, which is cool. So this is actually an 18 rounder. Sticks out just a little bit, but cool little fact. 3.58. Next up, our Tech. Let's see how this thing does. 3.38. Okay. I think this gas pedal definitely helped. It's very similar, I would say. All right, next up, we're gonna try the RX Delta L, made in Slovenia. Shout out to Slovenia. 3.21. I have the most rounds of probably any pistol on this gun, so I am really, really used to it. All right, next we're gonna try the PSA dagger, which is a similar kind of style in terms of the grip length, 17 rounds as our Canik, but meteor slide, longer barrel. 3.29 with the dagger. Second to last, Glock 34. Let's see if I can get under 3 seconds with this thing. 3.30. I think that's more of a testament to my shooting ability than the shooting ability of the gun. If I don't get under 3 with the Shadow 2, I'm gonna be disappointed. Shadow 2. 2.73. Like I said in the beginning, this couldn't get further away from what the MC9 is. This is not a carry gun. I mean, if you carry this, props to you, Giga Chad. I love this gun. Ugh. All right, we're gonna try the Canik one more time, see if I can do any better. 2.48. That's faster than the Shadow 2. I had one miss though. Let's go one more here. Come on now. 2.65, no misses. Once I got the hang of the course a bit more and shot this again, boy oh boy, it's fast. I think we got about a similar time as the Shadow 2, which is kind of crazy. I'm sure I could probably go a little bit faster with the Shadow 2, but damn. I mean, the trigger on this thing absolutely fucks. For a carry gun, no other trigger like it, honestly. For this size of gun in this class, best one. If Walther made one, maybe the Walther would be better, but right now this thing, for me, it takes the cake. Because we have a ported barrel, technically, well, really it's a compensator integrated into the barrel. I wanted to try out the Blazer ammo because they do a disclaimer on the box that says you shouldn't shoot these out of ported barrels. We've been running 124 NATO spec ammo this whole video, so this should just be a little bit softer. Let's see. Definitely a little bit softer on the recoil. That's really nice. Yeah, that's nice. It's really nice shooting 115s out of this. I'd say the Blazer's good to go because it's not in the rifling and it's forward and more of like a compensator. So that's cool to know. All right, I think, do you want to shoot it? I think you should shoot it because I want to get your take on this gun. All right, let's do it. Give her shit.
Oh, wow. That's snappy. Oh. Wait, why am I not hitting it?
Because you suck.
It's very snappy. It's kind of demolishing my finger here.
Yeah.
Oh, ow.
All right.
Ow.
I was saying earlier in the video when I first started shooting it that I couldn't keep my finger like here, my other support hand thumb, snapping up so much, and it was actually like giving me a little bit of a blister there. So that's why I'm wearing the glove. And you're wearing the glove too, but how did you feel?
It's very snappy, which I don't like because I'm not used to shooting pistol at all. Trigger is kind of nice, even though it was giving me trigger finger pain, if that makes sense. Pain.
So you're
here.
Oh,
for some reason.
Interesting. It's probably because it's a little bit wide. It's
yeah.
a very wide trigger.
It's just making my thumb move and then I have to reposition it. This here, when it comes back, my hand goes like this.
Yeah.
So I have to like reposition. I don't know. New shooter stuff.
All right, so that's been a roughly like 700 round-ish review of this Canik Mete MC9, the Meat Spin Pro. I really like the porting situation, muzzle flip on it. For how light this gun is, I think it's manageable. You do have to get used to it though. When you first shoot this thing, ports are pretty loud, pretty aggressive in terms of just the initial bite of it. But once you get the hang of it and practice with it and train with it, I think it performs excellently. Like once I got the hang of this little course and I shot it again at the end, 2 seconds something in terms of hitting 6 targets, just on par with what I was doing with the Shadow 2, which is kind of crazy. Not intended for competition, intended for concealed carry, and I think it's a pretty good gun for that. Positives, like the porting situation. I like that it's cut for an optic, obviously. The best positive is going to be the trigger. We had our camera gal shooting, and she didn't like how wide the trigger was. It took some getting used to. For me, it's fine. I like the kind of wider trigger shoe there, but some shooters might not like how wide it is. You do have a ton of purchase though, and there's like some like serrations on that dingus there, so it's like really easy to grip it. And once I got the hang of it, it shot great. With the 115 grain Blazer, which is obviously not like concealed carry ammo, shot extremely flat compared to the 124 NATO, which was a little bit more snappy. No malfunctions with this thing. I did have one time, I think, that the slide didn't lock back. Hadn't had it since, so the negatives I would say are kind of like intertwined with the positives. I had my thumb here with my bare hands, and it was just getting a blister. Like I think it maybe was part of hitting this slide release and maybe this takedown part, and it was just like scuffing it up. Like it was really uncomfortable actually. Given that this is a concealed carry gun, like the last ditch problem solver, so to speak, if things get really bad and you're carrying, you pull this thing out, you know, 17 rounds or even 30 something rounds, you're not gonna feel that, especially in a very intense self-defense situation, which is really what this is for. So negates kind of any kind of issues with it in terms of hitting my thumb and kind of scuffing it up a little bit. But that is of note. The optic, the O-Sight S, did great, held 0. The only issue though is I went to just go shoot a couple more rounds on this thing and it died. There's no way I can just change the battery in this right now. I don't love that. I prefer to just say, oh, I ran out of batteries, I'm gonna go grab another battery, put this in, keep shooting with the optic. I know they're trying to be different, but if they just came out with one that had a swappable battery, I think that'd be nice. We're gonna shoot iron sights to close out this video. Guys, thanks so much for watching another episode. I like to try out new guns. So thanks to Century Arms. They did send this to me, but no paid review or anything like that. Haven't really shot a whole lot of Caniks. So we'll see you on the next episode, guys.
Nigga, fuck your promise. If you want some big boy, I won't be your farmer. I might be your father. Like Penny Hardaway. Just trying to lock me up. Cause my pillow dark.
Canik Meat MC9 Prime. The meat, the prime, the meat's been primed. The meat's been primed. Let's take this meat for a spin.